Welcome to another episode of Another Motherfucking Podcast. It's your host, Saved by Paris. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, then rate the show 5 stars. It only takes a couple of seconds. Help your boy move up the algorithm, which translates to increased revenue. Help me pay my bills, all that good jazz. My guests today are two good friends of mine. First, allow me to introduce the homie K Trees. Say what's up to the people and let them know where they can find you on social media.
How's it going, everybody? I am Kevin, formerly known as K Trees, but, kind of sected out of that. I'm on Instagram at Caveman. It's not spelled like you would think. It's Caeve, just because someone else had Caveman. And then I do stream on Twitch at Keviness, which is Kevyness. So if you could drop a follow there, that's always cool. Great to finally start pulling revenue from that. But yeah, I don't really have much else going on online other than those two things.
Cool. Also, allow me to introduce the homie Hananiah. Didn't have a cool nickname for you, so if you have one, feel free to let me know.
No, it's okay. I don't have a nickname. I don't really have a social media presence. I mean, I guess you can follow me on Instagram. It's that elf guy, THATELFGUY. But no, I don't really do anything like Twitch or anything online, really.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with that. So before we go on with the podcast, let's go ahead and address the elephants in the room. Elephants is in plural. So while both of you are good friends of mine now, it wasn't always that way. So starting with Kevin, let the people know what I did to you the first time I met you.
It's actually funny that me and I are both on the podcast and we both had like sort of crossings of paths that weren't as good as they are now, as you put it.
Maybe at one point.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I went to Mikkel's house when I was, just trying to be a part of the music thing a little more heavily, and we were doing some stuff recording, and I was like, I don't even know, you just walked over to me and sucker punched me right in the stomach, and I mean, I felt like I took it pretty well. I don't remember getting too angry. I remember just being like, I thought we were friends, but
Man.
It's one of those things, like, in retrospect, like, I was probably 15, so you were probably 16, 17, so it was like
High school shit, bro.
Yeah, I probably could recall situations where I've done some, like, pretty fucked up shit like that for, like, absolutely no reason other than, like, hey, why not?
Bro, I can't even blame it on like me being high or anything because I didn't smoke at the time. I don't know. I just went up to you and fucking decked you in your shit, bro.
It was funny. Like, and I honestly laugh about it now, and I do bring it up in conversations with other people, like just sort of as anecdotal stuff that's funny that's happened between our friend group. Because I don't see, like, a lot of that stuff where, there was a situation with Naya and Hunter, and I don't really see that now as something that was too serious. It's more of just kind of a hilarious situation that probably could have been avoided, but it wasn't. So
yeah, honestly, dude, not funny. That shit was not funny.
It was pretty funny.
I said I forgive him, but he never said anything back. The situation between me and Hunter, he was an asshole. There was nothing funny about it. He was being a straight up dick. Like, they're adults, 20 plus years old, he's being a dick.
Man, honestly, bro, like, I thought, like, okay, so in hindsight, when I decked you in your shit, after you got up and everything, I let you hit me back. I thought we was good after that, I never apologized or anything, but we are good now, so that's all that matters. And addressing the other elephant in the room, I have this series titled The F. There are 5 total, starting with the F1 and ending with the F5. The homie Hananiah became my target for the F4, which, while fairly recent in the F series, took place 3 years ago. So you want to tell the people a little bit more about that, Naya?
Okay, so first, before we get into that, I wanted to ask, because you guys didn't talk about it. I know you said you didn't blame it on smoking or anything, but why did you punch Kevin in the stomach in the first place?
Bro,
I know it happened, but I forgot about asking why.
Why
you
not?
randomly did it?
Why not?
Random, bro. He was about to leave.
Not?
like we was dapping up and everything. He was about to leave, and then like I just went and
right in the sternum, like right in that spot that knocks the breath out of you, like right under the rib cage.
Right in his shit, bro.
Shit. Okay, I thought maybe there was some reason. Okay, all right. I mean, that's
No
what
reason,
it is,
bro.
All right.
Maybe
No
it's because
reason.
maybe I was in his turf, like with Mikhail and shit. Maybe I got a little too comfortable, you know.
Nah, I was geeking, bro. I was geeking.
All right. Well, okay. So to start with, I know you're saying target F4 or whatever. So the situation is, I've actually never heard that diss track. All right. I know you have one about me. I know, and I actually was going to ask you to, make that available if you still can. So I still haven't heard it. All right. I don't know if I actually have some with you.
It's on SoundCloud. It's on YouTube. It's on Spinrilla.
It's still available. It's available.
Yeah.
A diss track about me is available. Okay. All right. Okay. I didn't even know it's still available. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I just remastered it too.
What the hell are you mastering it for? Okay. All right. First off, okay. I'll ask that later. Okay. All right. So first question is like, okay, Taylor, you and I, before all this happened, barely spoke. I mean, maybe on the rare occasion, like just passing, because I was hanging out with like Nikhil and Mikhail,
This is true.
I mean, you and I were like never had, we were at most neutral, slightly positive feelings to one another because we had mutual friends of Nikhil and Mikhail.
Right. The first time we might have met, and it wasn't even officially, I would say, I guess the first time we might have saw each other was on bus 55, I think, by Mr. Davis.
Yeah, bus 55. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Other than that,
yeah,
not even in passing did we really speak.
Yeah, because there was no reason for either of us to. It just it just never happened. And then all I know about you at this point is that you're friends with Mikhail Nikhilan and you rap with Mikhail, and sometimes y'all would feature Nikhilan. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of you. I wake up one morning, all right, it's college, I'm like 19, my birthday was like 2 weeks ago or something like that, right? Because I remember this being in December, I'm almost certain, okay? I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm
that's about right. That's about right.
Yeah, and I wake up and I just somebody tagged me. I think it was you guys. You tagged me. I think. Yeah,
it was probably Hunter.
So I mean, I can at least. Okay, it probably was Hunter. So I guess let's just say Hunter, but it could have been someone else. Hunter tagged me in a video of like you and Mikhail just sitting there shitting on me.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck.
just like the whole video, y'all just shitting on me. Okay, and I just wake up. I'm like, first off, I'm like, wow, what a way to wake up. I've got school later. I've got stressed out shit going on in my life, and now this motherfucker I barely even know. Is sitting there just making a whole video about me. So the first thing I think to myself is like, wow, I'm fucking angry. Second thing I think to myself is like, okay, to be honest, I'm thinking it's a little bit like pathetic because you didn't even talk to me about anything first. You're just sitting there straight up, right off start of the day, chose violence. Just wanted to absolutely like just do what you can to like damage me. Now I can understand why Mikhail was upset, kind of, because Mikhail and I had already passed it at that point. Like him being angry with me at that point, because he had even driven me to like Olivia's house.
Right.
Point, all right. He I mean, like, just like if he really was that angry with me, then like his first step would probably not to be driving me to her house. All right, I'm just saying. Right. Okay,
I see. That's news to me. That's new to me. I didn't know that. But I will add. Do you remember right before all of this stuff happened? The first time we really had a conversation, I had picked. You know what? I think you might have been dating. No. You weren't dating Olivia. Mikhail was still with Olivia. It was when you and Olivia worked at Magic Springs, and I had picked. Mikhail.
I didn't work. I was just hanging out with Mikhail. No, I was hanging out with Mikhail. Y'all picked Olivia up. I remember that.
Yeah, that was like what was that, like maybe a few weeks before?
No, dude, that was like months before. Honest to God, that was months before.
Okay, but that was like our first conversation.
Okay, yeah, because I started dating her in like 2016. I think that was like still 2015, man.
Yeah, Mikkel was still dating her because I remember we had talked because I had dropped them off first. I took him to that motel, and then I took you home.
Yeah. I remember that too. He told me that they couldn't find a motel after them for like because they were like no credit card or something like that.
Yeah, and so I remember taking you home and we were like dogging the shit out of them. But
I was dogging the hell out of him. Yeah, I remember.
I told him to his face. I was dogging the shit out of him as well.
Yeah, I was because he had just gotten done cheating on her or something like that, like a week before. And so, like, I was like, I remember talking about that. I was like, dude, just cheated on her. The fuck is going on here? And like, I was like, what the hell? I just remember that was part of the conversation I took dogging on him for. And so, like, I have to ask, because you know what? I actually never fully finished that video that you guys made about me. It pissed me off so much, right?
Yeah.
The very next thing I went to talk to Seth Hill's mom, who's a lawyer, about getting, it was like, I think,
defamation.
Slander. I can't remember which one was charged. Yeah, defamation of character for sure. And she told me she'd do it, but she'd have to charge just because she didn't want to pay for the court fees. She was just going to make me pay court fees, you know? And I just, I didn't have the money until I'm working at Little Caesars and, I'm in college at the same time,
Yeah.
So like, what was the intention behind that video in the first place? Like, why were y'all even going after me like that? I didn't do anything to y'all. And me and Mikkel had already told me we were cool.
Yeah. So I actually still have that. I still have that video. It's just privated. Last time I watched it, maybe a year ago, I watched it in its entirety. So what had happened was we were walking downtown and I remembered I had popped a question to him about Olivia. I didn't say your name yet. I had popped a question about Olivia. And so he went on a rant about her. And then that rant included you. And I was just laughing. I think I was egging it on maybe. Like saying,
It was mostly him, but you were egging it on like hella hard.
Right. I was like, he got your. I was probably like, he got your girl or something like that. But yeah, I don't think I said anything bad. I just know I egged it on, and then I posted it, and did not expect that shit went up in views that day because. So you got tagged in it. I don't know who tagged you in it, and then it got posted on Facebook, and then like everyone, it became a big fiasco on Facebook.
I shared it.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone was shitting on y'all. And then the most embarrassing part is when my mom decided to get in there because it had been shared so many times. My mom saw the original.
Hands down, my favorite part of the entire thing was your mother dogging people in the comments. I mean, just absolutely going for throat shots only on like teenagers. Like, and that sort of thing is like, and I understand like being upset, but I feel like I know how Taylin, Brandon, Mikkel, like y'all operate. Very much of what y'all do is sit around and dog the shit out of each other. Me and Brandon did it constantly. I mean, and it's not meant in any like negative way, but I think that capped on with the fact that Olivia was the like subject of the conversation and everything. I can see how even if you and Mikkel are cool, that he'd get heated and just start fucking, dogging shit on you. So
I mean, he was going pretty hard too. I mean,
I think he was.
On top of him going hard.
I want to say he was mostly mad at Olivia, of course, but with and I'm not going public with information or anything, but what happened. I think that's how you got dragged into it.
Yeah. And then, I think the most embarrassing part, I'm just going to say it out here because it's already all over the internet. People probably screenshot. I don't doubt people screenshotted what my mom said. This was the most embarrassing part. I don't care that my mom was like shitting on a bunch of teenagers. All right. I care about the fact that my mom had said, because in the video, Mikkel had, which by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's total bullshit. Mikkel had said that like my dick was like an average size hot dog. And that was because they had gone into my computer, used the password that I told Graham, and I had trusted him with that information, and Graham gave it to Hunter, and then Hunter went through all of our photos and found our, Olivia and I shared nudes between each other, and showed it to Mikkel, and Mikkel was like, "Yeah, I saw his dick, it's like an average hot dog." All right, And then so I don't give a shit about that. What I give a shit about is that he said that online, and then my mom sees it, and she was like, "What did she say? Something about using the jaws of life to like grab me out of her vagina, like when the doctors, and like because my dick was so big." And I was like, "Oh fucking Christ!"
That's not something mothers should say.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all. That was the most embarrassing part that my mom had fucking publicly said that. I made her go back and delete it, I think.
I honestly don't remember that. Damn.
God,
I remember moms getting involved. Because I think my mom might have got involved as well.
But to be fair, Naya's mom gets involved in everything on Facebook. That even, especially in high school, there were a couple times where Naya would like post. I can't think of the exact instant, but Naya posted something on his Facebook, like a status. And I think me, Graham, and Hunter, and like a couple other people, like were just like poking at him, like we were just making fun. And I think even you had said something about your mom commenting on it, because she like went out, like she was like, "Don't fucking talk about my son," like shit like that. And it was
God,
like,
yes.
what the fuck? And I'm pretty sure it was like anime related. So I think I'm 90% positive that my comment had weeb within it. And so, like,
yeah, I mean,
shit like that, man. Your mom was always in shit, though. Like, with you or your other siblings.
I know, bro. So what I want to ask is, like, okay, what was your intention of posting that video? Because that was some major beef between us. And then what was the diss track even about? Because I didn't do shit to you, man. Oh, and, you know, you told me on those comments, I'm sure you still have it, you told me on those comments that you just brought it up. You just straight brought it up. I wasn't even gonna fucking do nothing. You said you brought it up. You said it was on site. You were just gonna kick my ass.
I did say it was on site.
First, I didn't even mention kicking your ass. I said fine, do it. Okay, I was ready. You saw me multiple times before we cured our beef, and that's probably I think once was like a month after. I was still working at Little Caesars. So and then you didn't do jack shit. So for before you did other stuff. How are you gonna tell me it was on site and then you now do jack shit?
So I'll answer both. I'll answer both questions. First question referring to the video. So me and Mikkel, we were downtown. We were vlogging. So when I uploaded that video, the title of the video was "Bullin' in New York," which translates "cooling in New York." But really, we were in downtown Hot Springs. And so the intention with that video wasn't, at least on my end, wasn't anything malicious. I posted it because we were vlogging, we were just talking and joking and shit. And then, like I said, that's why I was surprised when I woke up and there was like 84 views, just like 8 dislikes, 3 likes, like it comments and shit. It was fucking crazy. And my intention wasn't malicious with that, but then it snowballed and it became what it became. As far as the diss track, so at the time, me and Mikkel were like, we're still close, but at the time we were like really close. So I just felt some type of way about the whole situation. I didn't know that things had been squashed between you two guys. I thought it was still beef. So that's what the song was about. And I'm pretty sure it might have been about like some things that either Graham or Hunter might have told me. But
that's what almost fucking Hunter says about me. Dude, them motherfuckers don't know shit.
But that's what that was about. And then as far as the on-site thing, I think when I said on-site, how old were you when all this happened?
19.
Okay, so I was 20. Yeah, I probably was in the heat of the moment, but at being at 20, 21, I'm an adult, so I really don't need to be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to be in jail or anything. I was in college, so I didn't want to ruin that. So it was just a heat in the moment when I said on site. It wasn't nothing malicious. That was malicious, but as far as
that
the
was
video,
malicious. I was ready. We locked eyes at Little Caesars. I was ready right then and there. I was gonna I'll lose the job. I'm in college. Shit.
Do you remember when you were walking in Walmart a separate time? I saw you and we locked eyes, but then I turned off on the corner.
I don't remember that, but I don't fucking doubt it. I remember there being multiple times I saw you before we squashed that beef that I just immediately the second I saw you, I just prepped myself. I was like, all right, here it is.
Yeah,
let's do it.
And it was crazy. We saw each other those few times, and then I feel like I didn't see you for like the past 4 years until at Kevin's house.
And so after all that, I gotta know, how bad did you fucking up in that diss track. All right, just be real with me and be a little bit humble, but don't talk yourself too much because you are dissing me on this track. But how bad was it?
Man, I didn't say nothing that wasn't already like either on Facebook or.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how bad did you get me on the diss track? I'm not talking about facts or not. It could have been bullshit. I'm just talking about how bad it was. Like how good was the song in ratio with like how much it was gonna and how much damage you inflict.
I will say I think it was the best F out of the series. The beat was really good. The beat was really good, but the song was only like 2 minutes long. Yeah, so I'm looking at the lyrics right now. I got it pulled up. I mean, I didn't really, I didn't really say nothing too bad.
You're laughing while you're looking at the lyrics.
Give us your favorite line. Give us your favorite line.
My favorite line, honestly, I'll show up to your house with the hammer, call me Thor. You a keyboard gangster, I'm Al Capone reborn. That was my favorite line. That's
actually that's not even particularly aimed at him in a negative way. That's just a really good line.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good line. I'll have to listen to that later and just see if it makes me mad or not. See if I can get mad again for no reason. From the diss track, I never. All I knew was that there was one that existed.
Yeah, it's still out there.
Can't believe you fucking remastered it too. What the hell?
So
all right, whatever.
I did remaster it, but I haven't uploaded it or anything. But I remastered all my music from like 2016 to 2018, and that was one of the songs.
All right. Well, I guess I can at least take solace in the fact that it's your best F out of the whole series, and there was four other ones.
Yeah,
I guess I can take solace
it was the best. It was the best. So.
Damn. All right. I just wanted to know. There's questions I still haven't asked.
All right. So with that being said, 30 minutes in. Let's go ahead.
That was 30 minutes. Oh shit. Okay, go
30 on. Minutes of you talking about how angry you are at Talon.
I was hungry. I was too.
Yeah. Hey. Well, at least we got it out there. I know we squashed it privately, so this is us squashing it publicly.
Right.
Getting into the topics for today's episode. December 8th, 2019, exactly 200 and... Hold on before I continue. Is there a bleed? Am I hearing a bleed on someone's end?
I believe that's Naya's.
Wait, what do you guys mean by bleed? What do I need?
Slight echo. We can hear ourselves.
Oh. Okay, what about now?
Nope.
Test. Okay, we're... kind of. You do got earbuds in, right?
Yeah, I've got earbuds in.
What's the audio coming out of?
My earbuds. They're like into my ears.
It's weird.
Oh well. Anyway, December 8th, 2019, exactly 272 days after the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, 90-year-old Margaret Keenan and 81-year-old William Shakespeare in the UK became the first two people in the world to receive a thoroughly tested COVID-19 vaccine. With the UK, I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute you real quick, Naya. All right.
That's funny.
I'll unmute you
when we're ready to talk. No, this is good though. I'm glad you brought this up because me and Naya were talking about this earlier. Please go on.
Okay. With the UK getting ready to roll out 800,000 doses of the RNA-based COVID-19 vaccine, the US government is now ready to distribute 2.9 million doses sometime this week upon FDA authorization. Currently, there are 4 vaccine candidates in the US that are in phase 3 of the vaccine. The final phase before it can be submitted for approval. If approved, the U.S. will need enough to vaccinate 300 million people, which means 600 million doses, with it being expected that the vaccination process will require 2 doses. Doctors and scientists have been addressing questions and concerns, but before I read off the responses, first, let me ask you guys, do we trust this vaccine? And if so, are we getting it?
I am by no means an anti-vaxxer. Like, I certainly think polio, measles, smallpox, like all of that, you absolutely need to get your children vaccinated for. Because they've been tested and proven over years, not just a couple months. Like saying something is thoroughly tested and it's been 8 months, if that. I just, not even that actually. What, they probably started around June, July area. I really worry about the side effects, of pushing something out that quickly. And they did do a test on 40,000 individuals, and the adverse effects weren't enough to make them not go through with it. But there was one adverse effect in particular that you might want to unmute Naya for, because he was talking to me about it. He sent me the document involving it, but I didn't have enough time to really get down into it.
Is that's Anaya now?
Yes.
Oh. He should be unmuted. Don't worry, I'll cut this.
Naya?
One moment.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, something. Oh, here we are. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right. So, yeah, I sent him. It's from the FDA. It's .org. I can send you the link later if you guys want information on it. But from the Pfizer's vaccine, I was reading it. It was some of the people who were like volunteering for the vaccine. Obviously, 'cause they needed human testing before they sent it out en masse. From the Pfizer's, which is, by the way, the biggest option the world has right now, with the highest success rate. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 95% success rate. But of course, I'll give you the document later. You can fact check me. Anyone listening can check it. It was, what was it? Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy was one of the actual side effects. You're talking about like muscles contracting. It's a pretty serious side effect. I mean, you are looking at least on average, and generally, Bell's palsy will go away on its own, really, maybe with some kind of treatment, within a year, or within under a year. Sometimes way faster, sometimes not so much. But I mean, if you're asking me, that's a pretty serious side effect to this vaccine. And I do, like Kevin said, before I read this, and this, if I'm not mistaken, just came out yesterday. Before I read this, I would have said I'm on board immediately for the vaccine. I know the importance of herd immunity. I know the importance of getting vaccinated for something especially as serious as COVID-19. But now that this information, where if this one quite serious side effect is happening to some of the volunteers, that shows it clearly. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's a possibility for even more serious side effects, or a slew of side effects just as, or maybe slightly less serious, that they just weren't aware of and not prepared for. And so it, like he said, this to me doesn't seem well enough tested yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Handing out.
Continue.
I was just saying, just to hand out to people. I mean, some places might mandate that you get it. I mean, our job, Talon, would probably mandate that we get this.
Probably right. Frontline workers.
Yeah, all essential workers will probably be told that they need to get this, but this just doesn't seem safe to me.
So I agree with everything that both of you guys have said. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but with the first wave of anything, whether it be iPhone, PlayStation, Xbox, I don't care what it is, vaccine, I'm not getting the first wave. I'm not going to be the guinea pig that, while yes, this is 95% effective short term, what are the long-term effects 5-6 years down the road? What's going to, happen with my DNA? Hell, even a couple generations later, And
absolutely.
My thing is, if I read an article and it stated that kids, pregnant women, and women who are breastfeeding will be exempt from the first wave of vaccinations for safety reasons. So that's telling me that they're not 100%, back behind the vaccine being safe for the masses. So I don't know. It's been what, like Kevin said, 8 months, and they're already rolling out a vaccine. That is far too fast.
So
agreed.
And a big fear about this vaccine in particular, which has kind of been a fear for a while with RNA vaccines and mRNA vaccines is that, so for people that don't know, just sort of like a textbook definition is essentially an mRNA vaccine is one that's like a man-made copy of a natural chemical messenger, which mRNA stands for messenger RNA. And they basically make that to create this immune response to a virus. Like HIV, I believe recently back in 2019, they released a bunch of articles talking about mRNA vaccination for HIV. And like the big thing is like if they put mRNA, you know, basically a vaccine that can alter, you know, basically cause you to have an immune response, what else can it do to me? Can it and I feel like a lot of the more extreme people are like, can it break down my DNA and build me into something else? Like, and obviously my answer to that right now, no, I don't think we even really have that technology. But like you said, with this not breastfeeding, women not breastfeeding, and I would even say, like you said, pregnant women with babies in utero. So what negative effects does the mRNA vaccine have on fetuses in utero and recently born children still being breastfed?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Naya.
You go on. Don't worry about it.
So I was gonna say I do have some multiple questions on this website titled "When can I get the COVID vaccine?" All your answers, all your questions answered here, and I'll drop the link on the YouTube version. But basically, it's a summary from a bunch of different scientists and people with degrees, doctors, all that good stuff, and they're answering these questions that a lot of people probably have. So I'll go ahead and start with some of these questions, and we'll go from there. So, question number 1. Can I go back to my pre-COVID lifestyles? No mask, going wherever I want, meeting with groups, traveling, all that once I get the vaccine? And one of the doctors doesn't have their fucking name on here, so I can't. Oh, Peggy Hamburg says it will continue to be important for everyone to wear masks in public or around other people until large enough numbers of people have gotten the vaccine or the disease has stopped spreading through communities. It's impossible to tell by looking at someone whether they've been vaccinated, so it would be impossible to effectively enforce mask mandates if only unvaccinated people were required to wear masks. How are we feeling so far, guys?
Well, the mask thing actually makes a lot of sense to me. I don't expect us to stop, okay, let's say the vaccine was to be like 95% effective now, like it is already, but without any of the major side effects that have already been seen. I would still not expect anyone to feel safe not wearing a mask for at least another year, just because how serious it is. 95% effective, but you're still getting thousands of cases a day. I mean, you're still looking at getting maybe hundreds or just even dozens of cases a day is still going to be horrible, you know, considering such a deadly risk, you know, COVID-19. So I can understand waiting and continuing to use masks. As far as the vaccine being having integrity in its make and in the process that they're taking. I mean, I guess all I can do is trust that they're doing a good job, because they're not going to make money from making a failing vaccine. They're not going to, if they have a vaccine that isn't effective, people will know they're open to lawsuits, and it's just not going to sell in the first place, the governments. So I trust that they're doing a good job, but I don't necessarily trust 100% because of the side effects we've seen that they aren't cutting corners. Just people already getting Bell's palsy from this vaccine, that to me just is enough to make me at least be cautious on whether or not they are cutting corners.
I can see since this is like a global pandemic, it's not just in the US or it's not just in the UK, it's affecting everyone across the globe. I could see that being why they made this so fast, as they got all hands on deck. Everyone is on board to find a solution to end this pandemic. So I could see that being a valid reason why it's been created so quickly. But like
even
you said,
in that same vein. Oh, go on.
No, you go. You take it.
Okay, I was just saying, even in that same vein, there's still competing vaccines. Pfizer's isn't the only option, and Pfizer's isn't going to share their vaccine recipe and process with the other companies trying to make vaccines. So, I mean, it is a global, work in progress, but that doesn't mean they're sharing all of their information, all their recipes, all the process and how they do it and how they keep it with one another. If they were, if it was just one vaccine that shared amongst multiple companies, multiple pharmaceutical companies, I would trust it that much more.
Going on to safety for some of these questions. First question, how will I know if the vaccine is really safe? It's not surprising that many people have questions or uncertainty about getting a COVID-19 vaccine. It's entirely reasonable to have doubts and concerns. We tell people to question interventions, especially the new ones, and this is an intervention, and it's a new one. Further, the speed at which these vaccines were developed is amazing, but understandably can be scary if we don't understand how they were done faster. Usually when we talk about things going fast or rushed, we skip steps. In this situation, that's not the case, but that hasn't been effectively communicated to the public. Here's how we can know steps were not skipped with these vaccines. Every expert on the planet can review the data themselves. In addition to the 2 communities of independent experts who will review the vaccine data, all the clinical trial data submitted to the FDA and CDC will be available to the public. Pfizer's data went public December 8th, a whopping 92 pages of it. Other experts can read it and raise any red flags they come across. If you don't know which experts to follow, Omer has a simple rule of thumb. Do what Fauci says. He's shorthanded for outside experts. And then second question real quick, what kind of side effects could the vaccine have? All vaccines can have reactions and side effects. Side effects are unexpected responses to the vaccine that are uncomfortable or painful, but are usually rare. Reactions, especially soreness, swelling, or redness at the injection site, are much more common or are expected to occur in some people after vaccination. Other reactions reported from COVID-19 vaccines include headache, nausea, muscle stiffness, soreness, and aches, all which are common with many vaccines. These are not really side effects in the way that we can think about them. These are routine reactions that your body has.
Okay, before I stop talking, I did kind of take the floor too much on the last time. I just want to say I'll take the L on that one. If Pfizer's really did release full transparency on the ingredients and the process of making their vaccine and make it public for everyone to see, then I'll go ahead and I want to go ahead and retract what I said that they're keeping it secret and competing, because I mean obviously they were doing that in the beginning, but if they're just now on December 8th making that available to the public, then I mean obviously I can't say that they're doing that anymore because it's not true.
That's crazy that you right before I read that question you had said all that. I didn't read ahead either. I didn't even know that was going to say that, but this is, at least for us, answering some questions that I'm sure millions of other people have. And my thing is, yes, obvious side effects that are common, the headache, the nausea, all that stuff. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about 3 generations from now. How will it affect my kids, with it being an mRNA vaccine, Just saying. But I'll let you guys take it from there. Any final thoughts?
Well, I just feel like I hate to use this phrase, but it's the only one I can think of, and I just hate to use it, especially now because of just the climate of the world and the connotations this phrase takes. But to play devil's advocate, we have some friends in our group. I'm not going to name names. And I would be wrong in saying I'm not one of these individuals that is skeptical. My father is an extremely outspoken skeptic of COVID-19 and the actual seriousness of it. So when people bring up, and it is statistical facts, it is supported evidence that, like the survival rate is 99% some odd amount. I think the one that always I get quoted at is it's 99.7% survival rate and 96 in old people and the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. Is like, so what are your views and how are they altered based on that evidence?
Well, as far as like the 99% survival rate, 90+% survival rate. That is true, but that doesn't necessarily take in fact like the lasting damage from COVID. So you might not die, but you're still gonna have huge respiratory issues or possibly other issues. I mean, you could come out just as fine as you were before you got COVID, but there's some, you know, people that end up with like I said, major respiratory issues they're gonna have to suffer through the rest of their life because of the damage of COVID-19. You survived, but like, how well did you survive?
That's an excellent point.
My thing is there are, while that's a high survival rate, there's still, you know, millions of people dying, and that could be avoided. You know, it could be avoided. And as much as I am skeptical of this vaccine, don't get me wrong, I'll probably end up getting it.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm sorry, Naya.
Go ahead, you go. I'll say it after. It's not important.
I was just gonna say, and as you said, I'm not saying I'm not going to get it. It is just this first wave guinea pig idea, and maybe that's part of a culture that I'm just in, and that, you know, is that affects my views and my opinions on things, is that I don't want to be that first, you know, wave of individuals. And as you said before, this thought of, okay, it stops COVID-19, or stops it. It reduces greatly, you know, your ability to get infected, and if you are infected, the symptoms and so on. But what happens, you know, in 6 months and in a year, so on. And that's where I don't like, okay, we've tested this for 8 months, we're good to go. Like, no, I really don't. Like, you're a doctor, not telling you how to do your job. I just, as a citizen, don't like that. That does not appeal to me when you say, hey, we cranked out, like, I feel like to them, it's like a victory chant of, yeah, we cranked out this vaccine and we're going to get it to people. It's going to be great. When in reality, they don't actually even know everything that could go wrong. I mean, right. In 6 months, it could cause everyone that's got the vaccine to start having, like, to have serious COVID symptoms, you know, like something like that. And that's completely hypothetical. I'm just making a point.
I feel like it's more like political, like the first, like, okay, we're going into a different administration here in the US. So if they can crank out these vaccinations under Joe Biden short term, that would be a huge victory for Joe Biden.
Well, right. Trump. And they also get, so I'm not totally 100% sure about this, but in the way that a lot of things work when vaccines are made in wide, especially for the country, the way COVID-19 is generally you're vying for a government contract. And government contracts go to the lowest bidder, not the highest. It's whoever's saying, I can make this for the least amount of money at your cost. And I don't know if the making of this vaccine, the distribution, whatever, Pfizer's involvement, if that had any government contracting in the midst of it. But you don't hear about government things being in the best condition. You know, a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are made by the lowest bidder, particularly like army equipment, things like that.
Right. And what I was going to say earlier is exactly what you both said. Is I was just going to, like, you know, I'm going to wait. I mean, like, I will get it when I can be more certain about the fact that, I mean, I'm not going to suffer some of these serious side effects that has already been seen in some of the volunteers. I mean, and it's like you said earlier with a doctor. I mean, I'm obviously no doctor. I'm only reading the information that's digestible to me, like an average person. But that's the other thing. I'm reading the information that's like actually digestible to me. And the digestible information happens to be like, it's 95% effective. You know, it's pretty good. But on the offhand, here's some serious side effects you're already immediately seeing. So like you said, if you're already immediately seeing these things, what can you expect to see in the future?
I saw an interesting article the other day. It said that here in America, there's going to be, and probably mostly in the South, there's going to be so many people skeptical of getting this vaccination, and they don't want that. They want as many people getting it as possible. So to motivate people to get these vaccinations, they are offering a $1,500 stimulus. So for you to get the next stimulus check, which is being projected at $1,500, you would have to get this vaccination.
I think that makes me want to get it less. Not
I'm poor enough. I think I'm too poor to say no to $1,500.
But okay. Here's what I really don't like about that is exactly what you just said. And I'm again putting on my tinfoil hat here. When the government offers a $1,500 stimulus, but on the condition that you get this vaccine, that is going to piss, I think, more people off, especially individuals in a lower socioeconomic environment and situation. Because obviously, like you said, I'm poor. I need that money. I would like that money. I could use it. But the condition is that I have to inject myself in something that seriously need to consider these things. One, could be against my religion. Two, I don't trust as a citizen. And three, I could firmly believe that this is simply like some sort of government test. Again, like to get on the super extreme side. I mean, that's like putting yourself in that position as a government, I feel is not great because it can set you up for, I think, more court battles than people actually getting vaccinations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, even though I'm saying that, and you know what, to be honest, I am like, poor enough to the fact that I think even though I'm not confused about the fact that this sounds to me like a paid test. They can't even guarantee to their own citizens, they can't guarantee the information to their own citizens well enough that this test will not be harmful, that they'll just take it on their own, will, on the fact that they don't want to die from COVID or suffer the symptoms of COVID, that they have to pay you to do it. I'm not confused on that fact. And you're right. I think that this will end up looking horrible for them later on. But I mean, if they really are going to do something like that, then it's obvious, hopefully to everyone, that this is, I mean, at least to me, just immediately hearing this, I haven't heard this before. It sounds like a paid test, but it's $1,500, and someone who's in my socioeconomic situation, which are a huge amount of Americans are, obviously. Mm-hmm. Just, that's $1,500. You got it. You're going to, take a COVID vaccine, which is already like a pretty good deal. I mean, you're going to
it's free. It's free.
It's free. It's COVID protection, and it's $1,500.
It's just fucked up to dangle $1,500 for all these, people with small businesses. Even as an average citizen with no small time business, we're just, a lot of people are barely making it by. For you to dangle $1,500 over, your head, and imagine people with kids. If when it opens up to children, is it going to be $1,500 per kid? People can really be stacking up. It could really help them financially, but it's just fucked up to dangle that much money over the Americans' heads.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think the another big thing is, like you said, dangling in front of Americans' heads is, well, if you're gonna release a new stimulus package, why put conditions on it to help? Like, why does helping people have to be conditional? I completely understand the importance of getting the vaccine. Again, I'm not downplaying that, but I think it's really shitty of your government to and I'm not like, obviously there's conditions to getting food stamps, to getting government assistance and things like that. Mm-hmm. But this is not that. Like to get us the last stimulus check, all you had to do was file your taxes or be a student who wasn't filed on their parents' taxes. That's how I got mine. I was not employed during to be able to file a tax return. But I still got a stimulus package, right? So why should it be any different this time around? Like, help your citizens or don't. I think putting them Absolutely. In what could be potential danger is not, enticing them with money for that outcome is not smart.
Absolutely. I think it also comes with low ethical, I think it shows low morality, I think, in the government. On the fact that the government was specifically designed to help, the people. It was designed to work for the people, to help the people. And now this government is telling people, okay, if you want our help, which we were originally designed to do in the first place, you need to follow these strict rules, which is getting a COVID vaccine in this scenario.
any final takes before we move on to the next topic?
No, let's get off this. Jesus. This is so depressing. COVID is just like it's one of those things that I totally understand that we need to talk about it and it's important, but it drains me more than like any other discussion.
It's hard.
All right.
Yeah.
According to SpaceX, Mars is a free planet and that no Earth-based government has authority over Martian activities.
So can we buy it? No, he said free planet. So look,
right.
Totally hypothetical. If we are the first people to Mars and we plant a base when we skate flag on Mars, is it not ours? Does it not belong to us at that point?
We were there. Okay, you would be there first, and if you want Elon Musk to get there, he better pay up.
Yeah,
I know he's got the money.
You know he got the money.
So he wasn't there first. I know he wasn't. We were there.
Yo, so like on the topic of just space and it was a Middle Eastern official. I want to say Iranian who claims he was contacted by a space federation about, and I want to say it was about like Earth joining it, like this space federation or something like that. But it was in essence that this Iranian official is claiming, and I'll look it up real quick, that he was contacted by an alien federation. And I think that'd be dope. Are you kidding me? That'd be super cool if they were like, hey, you want to join?
Yeah, so this is actually my topic for the next podcast, but since we're already talking about it, yeah, the one of the things he was saying is that the aliens have been here always, that they're working with Earth.
Israeli, that, I believe is what it was.
And that they have a some type of, it reminds me of the fucking what's that fucking squad off of Dragon Ball Z? Ginyu Force. That's what it reminded me of.
Ginyu Force.
There's some type of like force or federation or whatever, and it's based on Mars. Is the gist of what this guy was saying. Fucking crazy. Okay. Man.
But it's in essence he's saying humans aren't ready. I'm ready. Bring on the aliens.
I don't know who the fuck he's talking about. Like who's not ready? Because honest to God, I'd rather we forget about everything that we've been worried about here on Earth and just hang out with some fucking Martians based on Mars Space Federation.
I'm trying to clap some alien cheeks, bro.
Okay. The guy who's having a child wants to clap alien cheeks. Bro, you're gonna have so many alien kids. That'd be dope. That is if we can procreate with the aliens.
Give it time, man. Give it time.
Would be the big thing. But that's another thing is, okay, so there's a galactic federation. Sure, totally true. They're in contact with the US, with Israel, probably with every major power that has some sort of space ability, like outer atmosphere ability, whether it be missiles, spacecraft, satellite, whatever. So, what if the aliens are like, okay, so check this out. You guys have to give up all your governments. Everything's got to come down. But we're going to employ every citizen on Earth. Everything's going to be great. You're going to have food, water. You're not going to have to worry about anything. And our governments are just like, no, we're good. Nah, we don't want to do that. That sounds like communism with extra steps.
Okay, I'm just saying, in this scenario you're speaking about, Kevin, you're saying that we'd have food, water, we'd be employed, and they're not taking, in this scenario, they wouldn't be taking away any of our general day-to-day freedoms or hobbies or activities.
I'm not going to say, so we might lose the ability to, you would lose, so with the destruction of all governments comes the destruction of the Constitution, things like that. Like, those are not going to be things that are, I'm not going to say not valued, but not at the height of our government, not what we're being based on. So you might lose all your weapons and everything, and there might not be, a military on planet and things and you might not be able to drive anymore. You only public transportation now, shit like that. But I'd give up
any government. I'm sorry. Go on. Sorry.
I'm just saying I'd give up a lot of things that I've come to be comfortable with, to know that there are aliens and that I can travel to another planet and not even have to worry about what's going on here anymore. You can't have your guns anymore. I don't give a shit. I'm going to Zeta 4, bitch. Like, you know, that's the Galactic Federation, I imagine.
With all that being said,
go on. I'm sorry. No,
I was gonna say, like, in this hypothetical scenario, and they offer us this chance to get rid of all governments and be under whatever fucking regime that they have. My thing is, if we say no, is the alternative them destroying us, or are they gonna leave us alone? That's the big question.
I was actually going to talk on that. Exactly. So actually, funny you mentioned that. I was going to talk on that. Is that in this scenario, if they're actually going to ask us, right, to give up our governments? First off, this is a space federation who's actually contacting us. They're leagues ahead of us in technology, weaponry, anything you think of. They're contacting us when we never even knew they existed in the first place. If they're asking, that means they're probably not going to destroy us. And if they're asking, that means that they're also probably a pretty good government, because if they're asking us and not just taking us over, and then I mean, it's probably pretty chill.
Maybe we have a scenario. Maybe we have a scenario where they're like, you'll be under us, but keep doing what the fuck you're doing. We don't give a fuck about none of that bullshit. You want to go fucking have rallies and shit? You do that. I don't give a fuck. But you're under us now. You can keep your culture, but you're under us.
Maybe their main goal, honestly, in this situation where they actually ask us to join and not force us to join, is probably just to help us on our way towards, like, making the human civilization a better other species that exist in the universe.
Less volatile.
And they're like, that's their intention. Maybe they're like a peace having, species oriented government. That's like, okay, we'll protect you. You're under us. I mean, we switch to a singular currency that they use, but ultimately you just keep doing your stuff, but we're just going to make sure you go like the right way. Like, there's no wars. Okay. You have a war that's going to be handled with us, but just like,
they got to coddle
to me,
us.
like, yeah, in this situation, that'd be fine having this species that contacted us from outer space coddling us. I mean, we're basically babies. We can't even made it to Mars. We haven't even talked about trying to make it to Mars yet. All right. So, I mean, like, yeah, fuck it. All right, I'm a baby. Do it.
Man, that I always think about, and this is just another crazy hypothetical, but if an alien species were to come here, yeah, humans are interesting, but they're also D-bags. Like, like if I was an alien hovering above Earth, I wouldn't be like, man, we should bring these humans back to our planet. I'd be like, bro, they got these things with like little legs on the front, but their back legs are super long and they hop really far. We got to get all of them. Like, I would see aliens much more interested in the like wildlife, as we consider it, of Earth rather than fucking humans. Like, yeah, we're the most advanced thing, but we also nuke ourselves and let half the planet starve, and we do a bunch of other really terrible things.
Greed.
We're as stupid as we are smart.
Yeah, exactly. Or I would like what Parrish just said. We're as greedy as we are smart. That's for fucking sure.
Oh,
everything comes with a price, bro.
Didn't Akon take all the money that he raised for like Haiti? Was it him that did that? Who did that? Someone did.
He did
that.
like A-Coin.
What?
Like A-Coins?
Yeah, he basically like got a bunch of donate under a non-profit, I think. Like, got a bunch of money, started this shit, and then took all the money. Like, it was crazy. But you have people that do that. Like I'm doing a good thing, raising money, and then the whole reason they opened the non-profit was so they could donate their own money to it for a tax break.
Yeah. Holy, I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm not going to take any kind of stance on your show or nothing, but I'm saying, speaking just facts, Donald Trump did lose a lawsuit about, fraud in his own academy, where he was taking money that was loaned to him specifically for the academy. I mean,
they finna arrest that nigga.
I am the academy.
Yeah. So I mean, you've got You're right. You got plenty of people like that. I mean, no alien's gonna come here and be like, "Wow, humans are so cool."
Have you seen the Academy? It's got my name on it. Like, bro,
We're fucking parasites.
That reminds me of the time.
Exactly though, we suck up all the resources. We hoard them. We do all of these things, and to an extent, from like just a purely evolutionary standpoint, I totally understand it. I mean that like my job, a portion of it is to observe. And I get to this. Primates are a great example. Chimpanzees in particular, one of our closest, if not our closest relative, chimpanzees and bonobos, two vastly different species, but chimpanzees in particular, insanely violent. They will kill their own people. They like, you know, they are just humans crammed down a little bit evolutionarily. We're not that different. Like, we are animals. We still have these evolutionary triggers. And one of the big ones is we need resources. Resource allocation means you're the alpha dog. And in our case, of course, in the US, is money. So whoever's got the most money and can keep it all to themselves is the best.
Hey, deadass Kevin, you brought up chimpanzees. My question is, if chimpanzees ever got to the point where they could talk and all that shit, would you fuck a chimpanzee?
No.
Oh, damn, that's cap. No. That's cap. That's cap.
I definitely would. I don't know if you've ever like I spent a lot of time observing primates. Chimpanzees and bonobos are two of my favorites. Bro, their asses fucking gross, man. Like I don't like. I'm good. Yeah. Like, and the females, when they're in estrus, they like swell the fuck up and get all big and puffy to let the males know that they got baby juices flowing, and it's not attractive.
Damn. Isn't it like in primates in general, not just apes, not just monkeys or anything, like just primates of like lower class than humans, or like different class than humans? They'll be the same exact species, but they'll be in like different, you know, groups or tribes, whatever you want to call them, packs. They'll just straight up go to war with each other for like territory or for food.
Chimpanzees are strategic motherfuckers, man. They are good at war. So what they'll do is they get troop lines and they patrol their bordered territory to other territories, and they'll like essentially, if one patrol encounters another, right, and they're on the territory border, and one group pushes back another, possibly kills something like that, well, they just gained more territory by doing that. Like, they've proven they are a better group tactically. And chimpanzees they will catch and eat small monkeys. And they do it it's almost like watching killer whales in the water, like fish out a seal. They're very like, they do things almost, it seems like, with and I would argue with intent. They know what they're doing. Maybe not in the sense that we would explain it, but when he's going to climb this tree, he knows, maybe in the terms that we would put it, I'm flanking, you know, something like that. So, but he's just unga bunga in the brain. So.
I just gotta like sit here and think about how blessed I am to be like a human in America and not a freaking chimpanzee out there in the damn wild, having to like, you know, be scared at any moment some other chimpanzee is gonna use their monkey brain to come over my territory.
That's the least of your worries. In this world, it'd be poachers, man. Poachers and habitat loss are hands down they kill more than any chimpanzee raid could ever do. I mean, humans are
right.
The worst predators ever because we kill in excess.
And one of the things I hate is that they do it because there's a lot of money in it sometimes. I mean, sometimes you got trophy, but in deforestation and in poaching, there's a lot of money in it. And I think one of the things that really could help with deforestation is honestly, like, okay, so we take down a lot of the rainforest for two reasons. Pulp, turning trees into pulp for multiple goods, and farms. And like one of the things that you could easily solve with the pulp issue is hemp farms are far more effective for pulp. Far more effective. Like the amount that you make on the single acre of like hemp farm is like significant compared to what you get at a tree. Not to mention the grow time of a tree compared to like a hemp plant.
Yeah. years for a tree versus 6 months for hemp max.
Yeah, and it's mass.
That's a shitload of hemp.
And like I said, like the trees take up a lot of space in 1 acre, just one tree. For hemp, I mean, they can just like, you know, you've got a packed dense, you know, they don't take up a whole lot of room. I wish that our government would consider, like, I don't know, maybe giving tax relief to like hemp farmers and for like this whole intention of like growing, like, you know, maybe low THC, low cannabis,
but for industrial use.
Yeah, just like basically, even if it's not like, you know, good weed, it's good hemp, you know.
Yeah, when there is a chemical difference between hemp and like cannabis, marijuana.
Yeah,
but like it's the same thing. So my favorite primate is Cybangs. We have some here at the Little Rock Zoo. Anyone listening, if you ever get a chance, you should go check them out. They are these short, black-haired primates with really long arms for brachiation because they spend all their times in the trees in Malay and Sumatra. But they share this environment with orangutans, which, as a lot of people know, orangutans are a serious threat due to palm seed oil. And hemp seed oil has been, you know, recently sort of touted as a great, like, ulterior to palm seed oil.
That's incredible, because I know how hugely detrimental, or how much damage we have done with like palm, right? And just like for multiple reasons, mostly of course the oil, you know, and how like horrible it is for their environment. And then here we are with a completely like sustainable and probably like likely better option, and we're just like saying no to it because it's freaking Reagan era politics.
It's all about money, man, and the fact that Reagan era politicians, and can we talk, I don't know if this is on the agenda, but we have so many old people, and I'm talking like 80s, 90s in our government, and I am by no means saying that these individuals don't have something really beneficial to offer to our culture and our society, but
what's so funny about this is, so I'm at 12 episodes in the podcast. At least half of them we dog on old people. So let's keep going.
I'm not dogging on old people because it's because of old people, my grandparents, that I am so open, that I have a lot of the views that I have about the world, that I am as open-minded, and honestly, I thank them a lot for the career path that I've sort of been pushed myself through.
Okay, correction. Old people still in Congress, Supreme Court, all that shit.
Yeah, because even my grandparents have finally admitted to the fact that, okay, we need to stop lobbying. We need to, one, we're too old for that shit, and two, they realize they're not totally in touch, you know? And sadly, a lot of old people think that social media is the way to be in touch, and it's not. It's the way to get your mind filled with, like, nowadays just super extremist things, it seems like, or pictures of puppies and kittens, which is all cool and stuff, but I'd prefer my congressmen and women and any other, you know,
non-binary
denomination of gender that you'd like to. And that's another thing, I don't care what you are in Congress, represent me, my ideals, my community, and my people the way that we seek to be represented, not the way that you thought we should be represented 40 years ago.
Yo, you spitting facts. And to add to that, 90% of them motherfuckers are on the way out. They do not give a fuck about the future of us this planet, bro. They just collecting the bag.
For their kids. Two people, maybe 30 people, if you got that many kids and grandkids, like 30 generations max, when you could use that exact same income, funds, and time to either ditch the fuck out, leave, and retire, or put it towards something beneficial, like training younger people coming into Congress. Like, I think that congressmen should have to pay like money to train the people that are coming in.
Mm-hmm. I think another great, I was going to say exactly to that point, another great option, and is there like, I've thought personally of two ways to handle this. And you could probably use them in conjunction with one another, honestly. I know a lot of people have talked about, you know, putting term limits in Congress and all that kind of stuff, because, you know, a lot of them have been there for like just since, I mean, pretty much as soon as they had the opportunity, and they still haven't left it. You just like we put age limits on entering political positions, like to be president, you need to be 35, right? And they have similar age limits for other parts of the political spectrum, like other areas. It's like you put term limits, and 2, you put age limits. You've already put it like you have to be minimum age. I don't understand the issue with putting maximum age. I don't understand that issue. Like, if you can put minimum, why can you not put maximum?
I totally agree with that. I think I'm not going to say what I think. What do you think, both of you, a good max age would be? And I think this is important because you're not saying. I think it's a touchy subject because a lot of individuals that are old, considerably, or that we would consider old, are still well in their mind. They're still sharp, and they can still be very representative of current affairs and ideals going on in the world right at this moment. So where do you think that falls off?
The average retirement age is what, 65?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. The moment you're old enough to pick up once you're old enough to pick up your Social Security, which is when the government expects most Americans to retire, is when you
are able. I know times are different now, but
I mean, the government expects at this age, not that it will happen that way, right? But you get Social Security at the average expected age of retirement. And if the government's going to sit there and wait till, or like start handing out Social Security, not that it's always, I'm not saying anything about Social Security because I know sometimes it's really not enough. I'm just saying, if the government hands you a Social Security check at like 65, I think it is, I might be wrong on that exact age, then in my opinion, that is the age you need to no longer be allowed to work in politics.
I agree.
62.
62. There it is. That's the age.
Okay. Real quick. Minimum.
I think the minimum is already fine.
Okay.
I think that
35
go down. For president, there's other positions. Like I think you need to be 21 for like local offices in some places.
Okay. Yeah.
If you wait to collect your Social Security between like 62 or 60 and 70, you get more money, which obviously that makes sense. But
is it more money, or is it like you're making up for the difference you lost?
Your benefit amount will increase. That's the exact quote.
So real quick, I was gonna say, sorry, my audio cut out. Real quick, live on Twitter right now is trending. FDA approves COVID-19 vaccine for emergency distribution in the U.S.
Okay, what do they mean by emergency distribution? I have to ask because it's a vaccine. It's not cure.
They're busting into your door and they're shooting you up in the neck, Naya. Right, like be prepared. You're getting swatted right now.
So it's saying,
are they? Go on. Sorry, you have info.
It's saying an initial shipment of about 2.9 million doses of the vaccine will be sent around the U.S. over the next week. The FDA will recommend who receives the vaccine first and expected to prioritize frontline healthcare workers and nursing home residents. Governors say they expect to receive the first doses of the vaccine within days.
So you guys might not have a choice, but just due to your job, but to get this first wave. So what do you think about that?
If I don't have a choice, then I don't have a choice. I can't lose my job. I'll have
same boat as Naya. I just got a raise. Yeah. Same boat as Naya.
That's kind of. I don't want to say it's messed up because I don't think it is. I think that a job just as schools do should require vaccinations if it's in this particular case. So I don't have any adverse things to say to you guys. If anything, I just hope that everything turns out okay. I really do, because I can't say that I'm going to be someone to get this vaccine until probably sometime next year.
And maybe it's saying it's going to prioritize. I can't fucking talk.
Like hospital workers and such.
Yeah. Maybe it's like we're not going to force frontline workers to get it, but they're going to have the first say so on whether they have it or not before we go on to the next people.
Right. Which I would expect a large corporation with worldwide stores like Walmart to absolutely be one of those buy-ins to be like, yeah, we'll take that.
you probably have a fucking station set up at Walmart stores. And
Oh, I could see it. COVID vaccine, and as you're walking in, there's a sign on it: employees required. Instead of must wash hands before leaving, it's must get COVID vaccine before entering. Right?
That's one of the things I'll worry about. Is that once Walmart says, "Hey, by the way, keep your job, you got to get a vaccine," and the choice is basically out of my hands. I'm not in the world. America in itself is not in a position where I'll just go find a new job. So I'll have to
OnlyFans, bro. Start an OnlyFans, slang that dick.
Hey, that elf guy at OnlyFans, he does cosplay, mostly geared towards D&D. What is it, goblin sex talk? So
the world isn't lucky enough for me to break out my shell like that yet. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I'm holding you to that. I'll call you in 10 years.
All right. Okay. Call me in 10 years. But there's nothing new. Like you said, Taylor, there's nothing we can do about it. We make money. I'm actually making enough money at Walmart to basically support myself. I'll be moving around here soon. How can I just say no to that? And now the government just made it an emergency situation. It's going to sound more dire. And Walmart's going to be like, yeah, all of our employees have to get it. No problem.
Man,
nothing you can do to stop it.
My job will probably require me to get it. Now that I actually think about it,
between 401k benefits, insurance, decent pay wage, all that shit, I can't really say no because you can't really find that elsewhere right at this moment.
Right. Except, you're gonna blow up in the next 6 months, so you don't gotta.
Hey, albums dropping soon.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Man, maybe some people will actually ask about me on the internet when they find that F4 track after you blow up.
Hey,
I can just have this for associated with you.
Bro, the last thing you want to be is important on the internet, man.
Hey, just to be fair, I never said your name in the F4, just to be fair.
Well, people ask, you better link them my Instagram. That's all I'm saying. All right. If we're already going to be shitting on me on the internet, it's already available, you might as well tell them my name. That's all I'm saying.
With all that being said, before we close out the podcast, are there any final thoughts?
Man, I can't believe we just missed two of our subjects because we ended up going on a rant about other shit.
What were the other two things we were supposed to talk about?
So real quick, a British archaeologist found the childhood home of Jesus.
How crazy!
And then we were going to talk about SpaceX and the talking about no Earth-based government has authority over Martian activities.
Oh yeah, as far as that's concerned, I don't think he's wrong. It's probably not.
Yeah,
but the archaeology thing. Sorry, I'm just kind of giving a quick, and then I was gonna. Yeah. My bad. But the archaeology thing, that's cool. If it is true, a lot of archaeologists take to using the Bible as sort of this historical record to see if they can backtrack and find certain sites and things like that. So I don't think it's totally unbelievable. It's definitely going to be interesting to see the studies that come from that.
Going on, since we're in final thoughts, going back to the space, the SpaceX thing, I was going to say that, so according to Space News, which is a website, legally refusing Earth-based authority over Martian activities actually conflicts with the international obligations of the U.S. under the Outer Space Treaty. So, and I had some other information, but just a quick final thought. I will leave it with that.
Nio, I'm sorry I cut you off 3 times.
You're good, man. As far as it goes with Jesus Christ, childhood home, as far as that goes, I find it hard to believe that we can he says he believes he confirmed the actual place. I kind of find that hard to believe, because there's not going to be any real evidence that Jesus Christ, who was proven to be a real person, actually lived in this actual house 2,000 plus years ago. So I'll kind of play devil's advocate a little bit, because since I have this, the article to my knowledge and everything, I will say the professor who did unearth this
supposed childhood home of Jesus Christ, he's been studying it for 14 years at the site in Nazareth. He's been dating it back through, let's see, to the 380s Oh, he's dated it back to the first century now, which it kind of adds, weight to his claims and whatnot. So it's not like, he's been studying this for a while. So I could see it being, the case. Jesus was a real person, but whether he was, this, that's another topic, I guess, for another time.
You want to do another hour?
I think as far as the real area he lives in, I totally believe that they 100% already know and all that kind of stuff. As far as they found the actual legitimate, this is his childhood home, I find that hard to believe. Look at dinosaurs and all that. We inaccurately described them for about a century, So and we had the top scientists working on that their entire lives, from out of school to the retirement. So I just find it hard to believe. I'm not saying. Obviously, I'm not an archaeologist. I don't know the studies. I don't know. But I find it hard to believe.
Kevin, you're an archaeologist.
I am.
Yes.
I would definitely say that I'm an anthropologist. I that is what I am, but archaeologist by trade. There's definitely gonna have to be, for me academically to accept it by fact, you would have to have undisputable evidence, something that is either through DNA, through some way you can link it to some other artifact of Jesus Christ or something to that extent, though. But just saying,
to his house.
Yeah, just saying we found this building in what we believe was towards the end of the path of where the three kings came to visit Jesus Christ. We believe that this is the exact general location, and this is the only structure that we were able to recover. This is the only plot that we were able to find artifacts at, something like that. I get where your science is. I get what you're saying. Totally. There's a lot of desert out there. There's a lot that could have easily been there that is not there anymore. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a fair point. I guess we'll just have to see, in due time, with more supported evidence.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to, if I'm ever granted permission to come back on, I hope it's at a point where more information is available on that, because that's definitely something I'd like to talk about, just from an academic perspective. That's really, really interesting.
You heard it here first. K Trees, another motherfucking podcast 6 years from now.
Oh shit! Hey man, well, I really appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed having you guys. It was a good discussion. Hope to have you guys on further episodes. Any final thoughts, Naya? Any final things you want to say?
The last thing is, saying, as far as Mars goes, I don't think any government should have, any amount of control over it. First come, first serve. I've never seen anyone else go to Mars. So as far as I'm concerned, and just thanks for having me on here, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of shoot the shit with you, squash the beef publicly. I appreciated that, and just kind of sit here, just speak my mind and have you guys let me speak my mind on a public platform. I appreciate
Absolutely. That. It's therapeutic, and so I do hope to have you guys on more episodes in the future. With all that being said, this concludes another episode of Another Motherfucking Podcast. My guests today were K Trees and the homie Hananiah. I am your host, Saved by Paris. Until next time, I'm out. Hey, if you made it to the end of the podcast and you're in dire need of more content, then head on over to Saved by Paris on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or brush up on some of the bass content over at the Bass While We Skate channel on YouTube or on SoundCloud. As always, have a great day and see you next week. Peace.